BetOnline, the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything sports betting. Every stat, matchup, breakdown, and even live odds and spreads to bet on during games. With the largest catalog of odds on everything from football, MLB playoffs, NHL, NBA, to political props. When the game is over, head on over to our online casino, get in on a game of blackjack or poker, or unwind with one of our over 150 slot games. The Jaguars are underdogs in their first London game this season, so head to the website today to get in on the action with America's most trusted site for online wagering. Bet online, the game starts here. What's up, Duval? It is your favorite Jag, Bucky Brooks, and this is Bleav in Jaguars, a podcast dedicated to all things Jacksonville Jaguars. And so before jump on a plane to go across the pond to watch the Jaguars take on the Chicago Bears, I thought we would bring back one of our own, Clay Harbor, tight end extraordinaire, Super Bowl champ, who spent 2-3 seasons. How many years were you down in Duval, Clay?
3 years. Yeah.
3 years down in Duval. So he's one of us. He's representing, but he's also doing some cool stuff in Chicago with your eyes on the Bears. So tell me all the cool stuff that you're doing. You're covering the enemy for the week. Tell me what you're doing in Chicago.
Yeah, I'm obviously on the Bleav in Bears show podcast with Marshall Harris, a anchor at 670 The Score, local radio show in Chicago, and Gabe Ramirez, also a local 670 Score radio host. Gabe does a bunch of stuff in radio and TV, and then I'm also the NFL analyst at CHSN, Chicago's new sports network. Just took over for Stadium TV and NBC Sports Chicago. And I'm the NFL analyst on the Big Pro Football Show with David Haw and Ruthie Polinsky. So got an insider here for the Bears stuff, but I still do follow my Jags. Was just on with Brent Martineau, one of my old media guys from back in the day, earlier today, talking Bears Jags. So looking forward to getting into this matchup. They're out there in London right now. I've played in that game 3 times. I've made that trip and played. So I'm very experienced on what it takes there. Had some wins, had some losses. So it'll be interesting to see.
Okay, so let's get into that because you played in that game. As a player, what is so unique about that experience in terms of playing over the pond, whether you're a home team or a away team?
It's about your routine, right? Because you know, Bucky, I mean, you played for a number of years, right? Your routine is everything. And you do the same thing you do on a Monday, on a Tuesday, on a Wednesday, and a Thursday. You got your own routine, and that's what makes the greats greats. Is they follow routine, they have a good routine. Even your game plan on Wednesday, you're putting in your base, right? Your base packages. Thursday, you're getting in your blitz and you're putting in your third down and all that good stuff. Friday, red zone. Okay, so routine, everything's routine. When you have to travel over to London, send a plane for over 10 hours, move in somewhere, you're playing on different playing field, you've never been to the stadium before, at least the Bears haven't, it throws off your routine. So whoever can handle that better, handle that change of routine, still get done what you need to get done, get some sleep on the flight, get your body acclimated. I was a guy that liked to get there early and stay and play. I've done them both ways. And as a pro, you got to be ready either way. But personally, I like to get there. Give me time to acclimate. Let me practice out there and keep it as normal as possible for that week. Earlier in the week is when we do the changing, the traveling, not late in the week when I'm supposed to be really locked in, zone in on this game. Now I'm traveling late. And then you get there and you're still going through some stuff, and now you have to play. So that's what I liked, but it's all about trying to keep the routine as close to typical as possible.
You know, and thinking about that, do you know when the Bears are traveling over? Did they go over early? Did they stay late? Are they trying to do the turn and burn? What have you heard? What do you know?
Yeah, the Bears went over very early. They went over on Monday and got there on Tuesday. Had the players' day off on Tuesday. Wednesday came back, had a walkthrough practice, and then today they're going through their normal Thursday. They're going to go through their normal Friday, and then Saturday they're going to travel into London near the stadium because today they're staying out in the countryside at some big hotel, big manor out there. It's got practice fields and meeting rooms to try to get themselves acclimated to the time change and the weather and everything out in London.
All right, let's take a little break to pay off one of our sponsors. Look, Melon, my favorite hat, guys. Look, we got to talk about it every time we're on the pod. One of my favorite sponsors, but the hat is outstanding. Solid construction, stain free. So even if you're sweating, you're on a run, you don't have to worry about it messing up your hat. The hat is well constructed, it's durable. Look, everywhere I go, I got my Melon hat on. Make sure you check it out. Melon, Melin. Go to the website to check it out. Get one of the hats. It's nice. Hydro cool. That's interesting that you talked about it, because you talked about preferring to go over early, get used to, do the body clock thing or whatever. I can tell you, I played in the international series once or twice, and it was different because London is different than going to Japan because of the time change. But you're right, it does take you a while to kind of get to it. And I know people talk about the biorhythms of your body, and you can just get over there and just kind of treat it like it's normal. But for some people, that disruption in routine impacts it. And I can tell you, last year, in watching two of the games, the Buffalo Bills and the Atlanta Falcons, the Buffalo Bills struggled kind of being out of their element. Like it was almost as if they were in a fog for the first half of the game. And by the time they were able to kind of get out of it, game is over. And so
Did they get there late? The Bills?
they got there late. They got there maybe
Yeah.
like Friday, Thursday, Friday. It was real late in the week. And, I know people say, hey, you get there, you sleep or whatever. But, we're creatures of habit as players, and any little disruption of the routine is different. But I got to talk to you, because this is not only the game between the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Chicago Bears, but it's a game that features two former number one overall picks at quarterback. Trevor Lawrence for the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Chicago Bears have Caleb Williams, number one pick coming out of USC. Let's talk about Caleb Williams for a little bit. What have you seen from the rookie?
I've seen, if there's just one word, I would just say growth. You look at his trajectory, if he's a stock and you bought him after that first game, you bought low, you are looking good. He's NVIDIA. He is going to the moon, right? He is Bitcoin back 5 years ago, right? He is just improved. He ain't there yet. Watching the All-22, he still missed some throws. And he was going against Carolina, which their defense was 32 out of 32, right? Terrible defense. And they even lost some players in the game, lost some players before the game. They were bad. But he's doing some things that you want to see him. He's looking off safeties. He's making checks at the line of scrimmage. He's getting in audibles. He's doing all the things you want to see him. He's checking them into the right run plays. He's doing the things you want to see a young quarterback do, and you've just seen him consistently make growth and grow and progress until the point to where he's built some confidence, and now it's almost like you're expecting him now to go out there and have a good game, as opposed to early in the year. You were expecting him to come out there and maybe miss a couple guys. Hopefully he'll find someone, but he has just improved in so many ways. And his first 10 quarters versus last 10 quarters looks like a completely different quarterback.
Man, you got to like that if you're hearing it, because so much of the conversation, so much of the excitement surrounding the Bears was about Caleb Williams coming in and jumping to an offensive lineup that featured not only veteran pass catchers in DJ Moore and Keenan Allen, but a young one that was exciting, and Rome Odunze. Let's talk about the perimeter weapons on the Bears. Like, do you like what they've assembled? Do you feel like they've given Caleb Williams enough help to be able to hit the ground running during year one?
Yeah, the perimeter weapons, I don't think were the problem. The problem was the run game. The run game was averaging a little over 2 yards a carry the first 3 games of the year. And the next 2 games, DeAndre Swift, total yards, we're talking catching and receiving, but has 285 yards and 2 touchdowns, averaging 4.5 yards per carry. So the running game has improved, and now there's a threat of the run. Before, there wasn't even a threat of the run. Then you have Caleb Williams throwing 55 passes against the Colts. I mean, that's not something you want to see happen for a young rookie quarterback. You want to see him have a good run game. But the run game has improved. The coordinator has made some adjustments in the runs that were called. Instead of running that, Shanahan scheme, wide zone with the cutback, now they're running more downhill, gap scheme plays, counter plays, duo plays, and they've made that adjustment, and they're really trying to figure out what puts their players in the best chance for success. And they're not a zone team. They'll still run some zone, but they've had a lot more success in the gap scheme stuff, the counters, the pullers, and the downhill runs. And that's what you're starting to see more of. And then that's kind of opened up the weapons outside a little bit more. And Keenan Allen was hurt for 2-3 weeks. Now he's back. It was his first game back. He looked good, didn't have that many catches. DJ Moore looks like he's coming on strong. 2 touchdowns, over 100 yards last week, even had 2 drops. Rome Odunze, up and down year, hasn't really flashed. He had the 100-yard game against the Colts. Some of it was in garbage time, but we're still high on him. So there's weapons there. Even at tight end, Cole Kmet has had a good year. He's in the top 5 in receiving yards for tight end. So the Bears have weapons offensively, and they're starting to throw it down the field.
So, in thinking about throwing it down the field, you have to have protection. A lot of the worries that Bears fans had, or that people watching Caleb Williams develop, they were worried about the offensive line. Have you seen that offensive line steadily improve over the course of the season?
Oh yeah, early in the season it was a disaster. I mean, they're just giving up pressure after pressure after pressure, got guys injured. But last week they gave up one pressure all game, the entire game. That pressure was, albeit a sack, but they only gave up one pressure. Caleb was clean. He had
Mhm.
so much time to throw the ball, and if you do that for most quarterbacks, they're going to be able to find somebody open. But obviously, this week will be a different, little bit different animal. You saw what Trayvon Walker did last week with the 3 sacks, and he's coming off the edge with Josh Hines Allen as well. And our tackles, to me, I'm still a little worried about them. Darnell Wright, the second-year
Mhm.
guy, was our 9th pick last year, 10th pick. Actually, they traded back from 9 to 10 with the Eagles when the Eagles took Jalen Carter. But Darnell Wright is up and down. You'll see
Mhm.
flashes of a really good player, really bright future, but then you'll see some plays where he gets beat. Braxton Jones, left tackle. There's a lot of people talking, a lot of discussion about if the Bears should maybe upgrade that position. Looking back at it, I think they should have. Jared Verse just got
Mm.
after his tail. He had
Mm.
a great week last week, but I mean, who you playing against on the Panthers? I don't even know the name of their edge rushers, right? But Jared Verse gave it to him pretty good. And he's susceptible to bull rush. And Trayvon Walker has a really good bull rush, and he's an explosive guy. So for me, that's a matchup that I'm watching. And as a Bears fan, but also a Jaguars fan, I'm really curious to see how that one works out. Even if he gets a little bit of Josh Hines Allen, either way, I don't think that's a matchup that he will win. Inside, the Bears are okay. Tevin Jenkins is
Mhm.
probably out. He's got an ankle. He's their best offensive lineman. So they've had some guys in between. Nate Davis has been in and out of the lineup, which has surprised some people. Bill Murray, and then Mark Pryor. I think his
Mhm.
name's Pryor. I don't
Yeah.
know. Yeah, Pryor is in there as well. He's done a good job for his limited action. So I mean, they're an okay unit, but if there's one place where the Jaguars could take advantage of, it would be that Bears offensive line.
So, in thinking about that, the Jags defense has not played very well. They're struggling. They're down to the bottom in a bunch of different metrics. Even though when you're watching them up close, it doesn't appear that they're struggling. But when you look at the numbers are abysmal. When you're looking at the Chicago Bears and you're thinking about what they do well, what is the one thing that you would be concerned of if you were a Jacksonville Jaguars defensive coordinator?
I would say if I'm the Jags defensive coordinator, I'd say it's probably DJ Moore, excuse me, not DJ Williams,
Mhm.
DJ Moore. He's a guy, he's a big play guy. Him and Caleb are improving every game. And then you saw 2 touchdowns last week. He made some big plays. So DJ Moore in the run game. And then DeAndre Swift has really come on strong, making sure that you line up with someone in a position that can guard him, because they'll put him outside. They'll put him obviously at the running back position. They'll put him in the slot. They'll put him anywhere. And then the Bears had just started doing the hurry up. Last week they did the most hurry up they've done all year. I think almost 40% of their plays were done over the hurry up or the muddle huddle, where they're at the line calling things. Caleb likes that. He likes seeing the defense. He likes getting the call. He likes going through a fake cadence, looking at the defense again, and then getting back into situations. So that's another thing you got to be prepared for. Hurry up offense. And you got to be down and ready, because he could
Mhm.
snap the ball. He's probably not in some of these situations, but he might. So if you think it's a dummy cadence, you still got to show him what you have called. So have a plan for that. Maybe you have a call, said, hot, hot, hot. Okay, now he gets to see what you're in defensively. Okay, now maybe you go through, you have a couple checks, because you go, hey, check, red. Now you have a check. You go from 2 to cover 1. You disguise something. He saw it in the pre-snap first cadence, but now you change it in the second cadence. So you're keeping him guessing still. He doesn't get to see what your defense is doing before the play.
Yeah, now the tempo is something that is crazy. It's something that he did really, really well when he was in college. When it's up tempo, it gives him more control. It simplifies everything defensively and allows him to go in attack mode. And we know he's one of the best in the business when he is able to attack. I got to ask you this because you're in Chicago. When you think about the Chicago Bears, it is always defensive mindset. It is always monsters of the midway, what they do. Matt Eberflus has done a really good job of, I won't say changing the culture, but enhancing the defensive culture that they have in Chicago. When you close your eyes and you envision the Bears defense, what are the things that come to mind?
Like you just said it, monsters of the midway. I mean, you go back to the 85 Bears. I wasn't even alive, but my dad makes sure that I know about the 85 Bears. Mike Singletary, Richard Dent, obviously Mongo just got inducted to the
Mm-hmm.
Hall of Fame. Mongo, Steve McMichael. I mean, all these guys. I don't even know these guys. I never watched them, but I feel like I know them just because my dad making sure that I knew all these guys growing up. My dad, I don't care about your 85 Bears. Oh man, this team, this defense, they were Richard Dent, the refrigerator Perry, all those guys, right? But then you go to the Urlachers, the Lance Briggs, linebackers, and that's a thing that the Bears have this year too, is two solid linebackers, and that's Tremaine Edmonds and TJ Edwards,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then they even got a third really good linebacker, but everybody plays in nickels these days, so you don't get to see him much. But Jack Sanborn, to me, he's a starting linebacker in this league. He just happens to be on a team behind TJ Edwards and Tremaine Edmonds. So the Bears have two good linebackers. That's what they're known for. Roquan Smith unfortunately got away, but they did a good job of replacing him with TJ and Tremaine, and those two work very well off each other. And that linebacking crew and defensive backfield is pretty good.
One thing that the Bears did last year is they picked up Montez Sweat in the middle of the season, and it appeared that it gave their defense some juice right away. What makes him so impactful for the Bears defense?
Yeah, he hasn't done much yet this year, but just his presence. He's got 2 sacks on the season in 5 games, which is okay. But his presence there, it makes it so you get a lot of one-on-ones with some other guys. Gervon Dexter,
Mm-hmm.
the last 10 games, even going back to last year when Sweat's been here, he has 6 sacks last 10 games. He's got 4 sacks this year. He's tied for the lead for interior defensive lineman. Gervon Dexter, second-year player. He's been a beneficiary of this of Montez Sweat just because he's been getting a lot of one-on-ones. Andrew Billings is having a good year, a lot in part because of Sweat. He's not getting double teamed as much. And then your other defensive end is just a platoon of guys. Nobody that really stands out. If it's DeMarcus Walker, if you got Jacob Martin, if you got, they're just, Austin Booker, you're just running a lot of different bodies in there, and none of them's really, they're just guys at this point, but they're still having success because on the other side, you're paying so much attention to Montez Sweat.
When I think about Matt Eberflus, and I've talked to people around him, they just talk about the turnover obsession that he creates in his players. I know Peanut Tillman is no longer playing, but I feel like his impact and influence is all around the building. How turnover obsessed are these guys? And if you were playing against them, how tight does your ball security need to be when you're playing the Bears as an offensive player?
Oh, they're third in the NFL in turnovers. They're a team that just forces turnovers. After they got 3 turnovers last week. That's the reason watching the game back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they dominated the Panthers, but that's because they had 3 turnovers to none. I don't care who you are. To win a game when you're down 3-0 in the turnover battle,
Hard.
that's not going to happen, Bucky. You know that. So the Bears, it's part of his hits principle that he has. Eberflus, hustle, intensity, tempo, and or takeaways and speed. I don't even know the hits principle. Only thing I know about it, hustle and turnovers. He wants takeaways, turnovers. That's literally his whole agenda is turning the ball over. And people know him for this 2-shell defense, like
Mm-hmm.
bend but don't break. But he hasn't even been running that much this year. He's living in a cover 3 and a cover 1. He's living in 1 high safeties. I think that's mostly because Jalen Johnson could basically lock down 1 half of the field for the Bears, but he's kind of gotten away from his 2 high defense that he's become known for. So it's more of a 1 high there, but yeah, just takeaways, him preaching it. Every tackle, there's somebody coming for the ball.
Mm-hmm. One of the best things that has happened is like Matt Eberflus had to take over the defense. Really feel like his personality has really taken over the defense, has taken on his personality since he became the play caller. Is he still calling the defense, or did he hand it over? Because I know he brought a new defense coordinator in. I think Eric Washington is over there, but is he calling, or is Eric Washington calling the defense?
Eric Washington is defensive coordinator, pseudo defensive coordinator, but yeah, Matt Eberflus is still calling the plays. Eric Washington has done a great job with this defensive line because talent wise, this D line was rated by every network, every
Mhm.
website, PFF, ESPN, NBC is the worst defensive line in football, or the bottom five. And they're right in the middle of the pack. But that's a lot because of Eric Washington. His specialty is in defensive line. But Eberflus has done a great job ever since Alan Williams was removed from the team last year of taking over this play calling. And it's something he's good at. He should do it. I don't like if you're like Doug Peterson, why are you not calling plays? Like if you're a good offensive coordinator, you're one of the best, do your team a favor and call plays. I know some guys, they want to be that CEO. It didn't help Saleh. Saleh called the defenses. He had a great defense, but he couldn't find someone to fix the offense. But Saleh, you're not going to do anything to really help the offense because you're an expert on the defensive side of the ball. So keep calling the plays. Eberflus has done a nice job, and you just got to get someone in there you trust to make sure they're calling the offense correctly.
Okay, so we've gone through all the units. I got to ask you this. If the Bears win, it is because of what? All right, before we go to the last segment of the show, let's make sure we talk about Cherry Bundy. This is everything that you need to be at your best each and every day. Cherry Bundy, it's a little tart cherry juice. It gives you, look, it helps you with your immunity, helps you recover, it makes you feel better, helps you sleep at night. When I'm thinking about how I can be at my best every day, I make sure I knock down a little Cherry Bundy. I feel great, continue to get at it. So when you are dragging a little bit, make sure you get a little Cherry Bundy. Go to the site, cherrybundy.com, to pick up the latest product. You can get it at Amazon or Target.
If the Bears win, it's because they're able to throw the ball. You know, the Jaguars got a decent run defense, but they're susceptible to pass. I mean, everybody's seen it. This Jaguars defense can't stop the pass. Joe Flacco got a wheelchair out to the game. He's so old, and he's throwing bombs to Alec Pierce, just scoring touchdowns. You think
over
the game
and over
is
again. Oh my God.
Yeah, Alec Pierce catching 2 bombs back to back, scoring these touchdowns, 350 yards. And obviously, Joe Flacco is the comeback player of the year for a reason last year. This guy can still play. But this defense is susceptible. If the Bears win, it'll be because Caleb Williams has a good game throwing the ball and getting it to his weapons, Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, and Rome Odunze.
If the Bears lose, same reason. What are the reasons?
If the Bears lose, it'll be because they got carved up by Tank Bigsby. Their running defense has been pretty atrocious so far this year. I'll be honest. They haven't been good. They haven't been able to stop the run. But the wins they've had, like I said, 3 turnovers last week, they got the Panthers into a situation where they had to start slinging the ball around. You know, some of these wins, they're getting the offense, into a situation where they have to throw the ball. Bears don't got a great run defense right now. So if Tank Bigsby, I don't know if Etienne's playing. I think he's playing. But Bigsby averaging 8 yards a carry, the most yards after contact per rush. I mean, this guy's been having a heck of a game, a heck of a year so far. So if Bigsby eats him up, the Bears got to tackle in the run game.
All right, Clay, before I let you out, just give me like your best memory of playing with the Jaguars, being down in Duval, because the community loves their people. They are Duval to their die. So tell me, best memories of being with the Wars.
Man, there's so many good memories out there in Jacksonville. I played 3 full seasons out there. I only missed 1 game those 3 years. So I was always out there. Honestly, the trips to London were always fun. Being with the guys, you don't spend as much time as you typically would on these trips. You're with these guys. It's like you're out to a camp, and it's just fun hanging out with the boys. And I remember going out in Wembley Stadium. Mercedes Lewis was hurt, so I was starting that week. And just the sold out crowd at Wembley. And Wembley's like 100,000 they hold. They were huge. And just look like, wow, this is 100,000 getting your name called, running out in Wembley Stadium with the Jaguars was really cool and one of my favorite memories. And then just the bank, man. I love playing out there at the bank on a hot, sunny day. You know, the team over there sweating. We're used to this sun, but it was good, man. I loved my time down there in Duval.
Look, man, I appreciate you spending the time jumping on the podcast, giving us some insight into this matchup. As you know, it's a big game for both teams. You talk about the Bears being able to continue to stay on track. And for the Jaguars, trying to climb back into the race in the AFC South.
Yeah.
So next time, maybe we'll flip it. I'm able to come on your podcast and do some things. We can talk about broader things around the league. Thanks so much for coming on, Clay Harper. It's been great having you on.
Appreciate it, Bucky. Thanks, man.